You see people even doing things like, you know, having locks, but they're like relaxing their edges. Can locks be locks? Like, why do we have to force these other elements into this space? Hey baes, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Alexandra. On today's video, we are going to be talking about lock shaming within the lock community. Why does it exist? What does it look like? Like, let's just sit down and have a conversation about it. There's so much criticism that people receive from like the number of locks that they have, how thick their locks may be or how thin their locks may be, how they choose to go about starting their locks, and so much more. And with anything, when it becomes really popular, it is subject to so much scrutiny, as well as people inserting their opinions and ideas about how locks should be, how they should look, and X, Y, and Z. And there is a difference between criticizing and actually offering like suggestions and opinions. My channel is very much rooted in offering advice and tips and maintenance to people who are interested in either starting their locks or who need assistance with getting through their lock journey. And this is coming from somebody who has experience with going through the lock journey, because I have been locked for almost 4 years now. So when I started my channel and I started creating content about my lock journey, it was strictly for inspiration. It was inspiration for other women and men who were looking to start their locks, and using myself and my journey as an example, and along the way offering tips and suggestions and advice based on the questions that I have received from my subscribers and my followers on my TikTok and my Instagram, on like, what are some of the practices that I do to maintain my locks? How often do I retwist them? How did I start them? What products do I use in X, Y, and Z? And I'm not one to gatekeep, so I have no issue sharing that information with people, right? But then there's an element of criticizing that becomes very rampant within the community. And I think this is just not even within the lock community, but again, within any community, when something becomes very, very popular and it becomes the face and people are talking about it and it's brought to the limelight. What I see now in the lock community in terms of, you know, locks becoming popular and it becoming a topic, and also the criticism that comes with it, is literally what I saw about 10 years ago when natural hair became popular, right? And I really remember that movement, because I have always had natural hair. So when the natural hair movement began to emerge in like the 2010s, that was like, not 2010s, yes, in the 2010s, like 2000 and like 12, 13, 14, 15, when it really became popular, I was very excited for that movement, because I was like, oh my God, yes, like there's other women out there that I can look to on social media who have hair that is similar to me, and it's, you know, being embraced. And I can, even though I had natural hair my whole life, I can also go online and get like product recommendations from people who have similar hair type and texture to me, right? And it was exciting. And then along the way became, you know, things like texturism, where certain textures, looser hair textures, were, you know, praised, and people with more coily, more coarse hair textures were kind of put on the back burner and scrutinized in X, Y, and Z. We're seeing that now take place a lot within the lock community. And I think that is why the lock shaming does exist, is, you know, due to the fact that it's popular, more and more people are catching on to it, and people are inserting their ideas and their opinions as to what, once again, Black beauty should look like, based off of a lot of Eurocentered ideas of what beauty should be, right? A lot of like westernized ideas of what beauty looks like, and even ideas that have been projected into the Black community. I think that is a big reason why we are experiencing a lot of lock shaming, right? So people get criticized, like I said, for the thickness of their locks, right? There are people who opt to have like a lesser count of locks, people who have 30 locks, 40 locks, and it's like, oh my God, why do they have such low number of locks, and why is it so thick, right? And then you're seeing people, you know, even doing things like, I have traditional size locks. Right now I have it up in a bun with, it's in 2-strand twist right now, that I've had in for about 3 weeks when I threw my hair up in a bun. But I have about 80 something locks. I have 85 locks, right? But you're seeing a lot of people, and this is what you would consider to be like traditional size locks. Mine are pretty much like medium size, but you're seeing people combing out the traditional size locks and getting micro locks. It looks like micro locks is like the big thing to have, right? And it's once again, you know, a lot of ideas about what locks should look like, but also again, locks just being what's popular right now, what's trending right now too. And with that comes again a lot of ideas about what our hair should look like, even with locks, right? Like there's a lot of perceptions of, well, you could have locks, but it has to look a certain way, and it has to be a certain thickness or a certain size and a certain number. And it's just, again, what comes with, I feel like, something that is being brought to the limelight of beauty, and then Eurocentric ideas being thrown in there. Texturism ideas being brought into there. And people doing things like attaching like bundles, loose hair bundles to like their locks, and the hair texture is not even matching. And it's just like, can locks just be locks, right? And I'm not one to like feed into a lot of these things, because I also do believe that, yes, you know, people are entitled to their creativity and people are entitled to do what they choose to do with their hair. But also I think there has to be a conversation as to still, why do people choose to force elements that include, you know, texturism and whiteness into black hair? Like, why does that have to even be a thing? Like, why can't we just let black hair be black hair? Why can't we let locks be locks and not attach, you know, these loose hair bundles to the end of it, right? You see people even doing things like, you know, having locks but they're like relaxing their edges. Can locks be locks? Like, why do we have to force these other elements into this space? I think when it comes to, you know, authenticity, I feel like people who choose to start their locks and they start their locks doing the route of like 2-strand twists and comb coils, or even people who choose to freeform, right? Like, it's still an element of embracing your natural hair. But then people who choose to do things like adding bundles to their hair, or even wearing like wigs over their locks too, like that's another way, because people are kind of treating having locks like a protective style. So they'll, you know, grow their locks, but they'll wear a lot of wigs, or sometimes people are even growing out their locks so their hair can be long and then combing it out so they can have long natural hair. It's a lot of things that are going on within like the lock community, you guys, right? I share my opinions throughout the course of this video, but I want to know in the comments below, what do you think lock shaming looks like? Is there really a right or wrong way to wear locks? And then why do you feel like having locks is policed within the lock community? Okay, so let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this topic. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button below. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.